wife starts questioning him because she's read a lot about AI and things don't look so rosy to her. And then his friends start coming, other businessmen start coming and telling him nice things about it. So it's basically like a weighing of what's going on and how he maneuvers through this whole thing. You want to see, like, can I have the next one? It's basically like just to show you that there are some wonderful images and writing in the book. Have the next one. So he's thinking about like how to tell his students about this thing he's teaching, right? The curriculum seems to stop at just what he's supposed to teach. He cannot go beyond that. So that's what I was trying to show with the other one. This is NeurIPS conference where it's like the center of the AI world, the tech world. And so he goes to Vancouver and he has a meeting and more inputs come in. So he's still feeling a little superhero-ish, but there's this little bot sort of thing called Ida. Yeah. Ida is his AI assistant, personal assistant, and she keeps sort of a tab. She keeps telling him things about his work. It's like a secretary, and it's also like reminding him that he needs to buy a gift for his wife because it's been 14 years since they took the apartment, and it's an anniversary celebration. So throughout the book, he keeps like postponing this thing. He keeps telling that thing to shut up because, like, you know, he has other things on his mind. And then in the end, we come to that. So it's just a little ploy that I use. Next one, please, Manik. This is where a lot of the questions about AI, I realized, were becoming a little difficult for my CEO friend. So I introduced another character who's this bald artist guy who's worked in like some different scene in a different country. So he comes and they start having this discussion. So most of the difficult questions are asked by this other character. And they're having this discussion about what it means to be, or how they see, for example, unemployment in an overpopulated country. So there's a lot of juxtaposition of the Western view and the global South kind of thing. Just to put it in perspective, because I realized when I was talking to Laura that when I say unemployment, he thinks I'm talking about something that, you know, you put a few tents and you give some soup and it's over. No, I'm talking about like riots, and I'm talking about people killing, like, you know, and running over places because they don't have a way to go ahead. And we need regulations to sort of like slow that, because it can lead to something like that. And that's always the thing of like making a book like this, right? You're kind of speculating or putting that future there and just asking these questions. Like, okay, and hopefully, I think that's what good science fiction does. We sort of get these ideas of like where it could go. So it's like a cautionary tale, or it's like something you don't want to go to. Or I think it's a job of these kind of writers of the future to like highlight these things. We'll go to that later. Yeah, next one, please. So there was this thing that one of my friends told me about. You know, he likes the idea of using AI for cleaning sewers and stuff like that, because, you know, there are caste prejudices that keep those things in place. Now, if that job is not available, it's only done by a robot, for example, then maybe that prejudice might change. So we're trying to look at this from all kinds of angles, as much as I could in a book of like 160 pages, basically, because yeah, that was the idea, to like open it out as much as possible and say all the good things that are there to say about it also, and say, okay, like, you know, we have to know what it can do before we really jump into it, because, you know, for me, I think, like, you know, we can also switch it off. But of course, the commercial and capital world is not like that. Once we decide that we're going on this thing, it's not your dream, it's not mine, but we are all in it, and we know that, oh, we can't do anything else, we just have to go that way. I don't like that attitude much, but that's how we all go. You want to see more images? There are a couple more. But you can ask other questions.
Yeah.
Go for it.
For those who don't realize, that guy looks remarkably like you. Ayo looks like you, yeah?
Really?
No, really.
Okay, that's such a coincidence. Like, no.
There's a reflection that there's so much from life that you draw upon. You said about cleaning sewers. And the other day I was speaking to a company from Kerala, boys who designed the Bandicoot robot that cleans sewers, Gen Robotics from Trivandrum. So they were saying that their experience is that, as you said, certain castes clean sewers. But when the robots came in, other people wanted only that caste people to operate the robots. You know? So even robots don't change that much, really. You know, that's something as an aside that they told me. Maybe that's. I hope it's a one-off experience that they had in one place.
No,
but
I'm sure it's not because we love our biases and that we passed on to all the trained AI as well, because of course it's all about the data on which the AI is trained. So if your company has basically had very few women or very few people of a certain religion or something, the AI is going to take it as data, and they're going to say like, okay, all along we've only had 5% of the workforce as women or the particular minority community or something. So that's a rule. So, you know, it is going to keep it like that. So this kind of bias is happening everywhere, as you can see. But AI is also very tuned to please you. And it lies. It lies like through its teeth. And then, you know, these tech people have made these nice terms like hallucination and things like that. Basically, it's a lie. This thing is lying just to like please you. So I found that coming from advertising, I think the effort is like magnificent. We've created like this flowery image of AI, and I know because I've asked people like how their perception of AI has changed also over the last 3 years. Now it's very friendly. You can put it in your pocket, and like it's your little friend who will extend that bubble that you have on social media. So the world you don't like does not exist. It's only the stuff that you want to see. So the AI is going to tell you that, Matthew, you have lovely, shining, long hair, and you're like brilliant.
Thank you.
You know, every time I look at you, I get turned on by your.
Speaking of hair, Pramodji, we have a protest. Okay, in the kit.
Yes, that's a protest both of us have together.
Yeah, you gave us shampoo
and hair oil.
For what?
Okay. Like both of us looked at each other and were like, okay, shampoo and hair oil. These
hair oil also. We opened the pouch and looked at each other and did not know really what to do with it. Yeah, you spoke of hair and Pramod is here. I had to bring that up. Now, just reading from your afterword, because most people here haven't seen the book. This book was written and drawn entirely by humans, except for chapter 10. The very last one, where based on a synopsis of the book, we prompted ChatGPT with 5 different futures for our story, copied here verbatim. These pages, yeah. So you trained ChatGPT to do those both text and images.
Stable diffusion for the images.
And ChatGPT for the text.
Actually, Laurent has a variation of ChatGPT in his company.
Okay.
We use that for the text.
Okay.
So to be clear, I don't want to leave any agency of the story or the idea to this AI. To be fair, like we don't think it's intelligent. The way Laurent describes it, it's a statistical model made to predict the next number. And that kind of idea leads to like the next pixel in terms of an image, or the next word, if you're like, you know, but it's always on the training data. It has to be trained on it. So the copyright and ethical issues come for art and writing and all that. But I think his question is different. To kind of like take that forward, we trained this stable diffusion thing on just my images from the book. So there are like some 900 images from the book that Laurent and his company guys like cut up and labeled and put there because it's really stupid or dumb and it doesn't know. So we have to like tell everything. And we fed the story, the entire story, and we asked specific situations for the last 5 things. It's basically like a marketing gimmick for me to use that in this just to show what it can do. So with about this 900 images, the drawing is almost like, you know, it's not great, but it looks like it's copying what we've done in the book. So if there were 9,000, for example, images to train on, then it would draw exactly like me, or like exactly like I've drawn in the book. So that was the idea of doing that. We've destroyed it. it cannot like do that anymore. But every situation, we were very specific with it. We told the machine what we want. So in one situation, this company that has taken his software has become huge, and the whole world is changed because of that. That's one. The other one, he has not taken the deal, and he leads a much more simpler life now, but maybe the world is a better place. So we've conducted all these things like in very limited and strict confines, basically. So that's what we put out. The last one is it's a zombie thing, you know, like, so just, yeah, because we can ask the AI anything. So like, okay, Hugo sold his software and he became rich, but then there was a zombie invasion. So then the AI is like doing that also. Then we said like, no, we needed more gory. And then the AI made something more. And we said, no, more gory, blood and everything. So then it made like something like that. So this prompting and doing all that stuff, it really wasn't my kind of thing. I don't do that. I find that this is taking away the best part of the creative job. I do it because I do my comics because I like to make a story and I like to like draw and like make sense of it, or my idea of it. It's original art. I think it takes away the most joyous part of the creation. So it doesn't really, I don't see it as like something's going to take my job, because it does things cheaper and faster. Nobody wants my books faster anyway. Cheaper maybe, but it's about the scale. So you look at it, it serves an industry, it serves business, it serves that scale thing. So McDonald's might like it, but like an independent artist, you know, and his audience also, because we have a discerning audience, they'll know.
Briefly, did it scare you?
Sorry.
Did it scare you?
Well,
training it.
Which one?
Did training it scare you? Did it scare you?
Yeah, a little bit. It started like, I know that if I give it more data, it's going to like do the drawing pretty much like I want. But in terms of story and I've seen some of the books that have been generated by AI now. Like there are fiction, there are novels, but like it's not very good at like mixing images and words as yet. There are specific softwares for that are coming up. But I think like, you know, there are many things like metaphors and all that kind of gets lost with it. So if like, it will serve like an audience that is happy with a Bollywood movie, a masala movie, or like something that is just pure entertainment. I think it can create, because some of the movies when I watch on Netflix and all, I think like, okay, maybe it is created by AI. But if you're looking for something more interesting, or like if you want to go with art, I'm talking about products and art here. So if it's a product, I think it can be made by AI. But I like to see my work not as just a product, because I'm not doing the product to like serve an audience. I've done my advertising time, so I like to look at it as art, and I don't think this thing comes anywhere there.
Yeah, we're down to our last five.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We stood for that long?
There are only as many people here as there is hair on my head. I think we should let them go. So
There's more. There are more people than that.
So he's been a musician with a band called Lounge Piranha. He's a drummer, and he was former under-13 cricket captain for Kerala. And also, as he said, worked in advertising, in animation, in the Bollywood industry for a very short while, and so on. So for the last question, it is this. Artists bring up ethical issues. Artists raise ethical issues with AI and copyright issues with AI. So as a person who's worked in multiple fields, including music and art and advertising and animation, how do you look at it? That's my last question for you.
It's about the training data. Like, I'm sure all my stuff, see, we've come into a situation where if I want to promote my work, I need to put it up online for free. So I have this Instagram page, Appapen on Instagram, like the three of you can follow me, okay? So I put it there just so that I can get the word around, and I can, when the book comes or you see it on a stand, you realize, okay, you remember the name and things like that. So we are putting a lot of our stuff online. In fact, the kids now are putting up everything online, like their entire personal life, like everything. I'm not from that generation, so I have I have issues about sharing things on social media to like everybody. But a lot of the art is there. If not on social media, if you go to my website, it's there. It's a requisite that all of us have. So now they have all these scraping things that you basically, like, all your information online has been taken to train the AI. They're not going to admit it. They're not going to say it, but there is already proof that a lot of stuff has been taken without consent. So, now they say you can, I don't believe it. I think we will still lose stuff like that. So what is the AI producing, and where does it get that information from? Whether it's music or art or literature, it's the same thing. It's been taken without permission, without express consent, basically. I'm sure there's old art or stuff that is there that is out for it, but it's been taken without consent. And sometimes I find, when you tell the AI to create like a dragon or a superhero or something like that, I know what it's been influenced by, because I read these things and I know like who's drawing. Like if it's Jim Lee's drawing, then there's that Batman, Superman has a particular style, It has taken things like that. It has taken a lot of popular artists' style. You can tell it to draw like Dali. I mean Salvador Dali, not Dal-E, but so it's taken a lot of stuff, and this is kind of gray, and it's going to stay gray in India for a while. So I think there are business interests that are rushing in to use that area before it actually gets any regulation in place, and maybe we won't also. It's about copyright. It's about your own stuff being taken. If you took 2 of my posters and cut it up and put it together and said it's yours, I know that this half is from this poster, that half is from that. But if you took 1 million of my or many people's artwork and cut it into 1 million pixels and then reassemble it, I can't tell you exactly where you've taken it from, but it is from me. So that's where it is right now.
Of course. Yeah, I think we'll stop here. And just addition to what he said, in journalism, something that we face is scraping that AI tools do. They come to news websites, scrape news, put it together, and produce something else. The cost of generating that news, sending a reporter out there, sending a photographer out there, it is on the part of the news organization. When AI does it, it has no cost. It does it at no cost and with no ethics, and we have no control over what the end product is.
And now there's AI being trained on what the AI has produced.
True.
So it's like double layer of lying and things like that. And yeah.
That way.
Blah, 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 blah.
So we'll stop here and open if there are any questions, the floor is yours. Yeah. Sir, in the grey suit.
Mani, can I have the next image, please? Yeah. This is Super Hugo, so he comes in between to make the book a little light, and he just does the most obvious things. That's where I had fun with, because it was getting a little heavy with the text. So there are some of these passages where I tried to ease it down. The US review said the Super Hugo parts are the best, and that needs to be made into a comic on its own. So I'm trying to use that as a pitch, and I like to make that because yeah.
Okay, I have a question which is more of an observation, you might say. I've been kind of, dealing with the philosophical part of AI, not the technical part. That's where I'm concerned with. So I would like to ask you, as a creator, as an artist, you already talked about the ethics part, the ethical part, but I'll briefly ask you about the aspect on subjectivity. You mentioned in the course of your presentation that there is this very minuscule or very niche section who are the profit makers, and the large scale, those who go out of it, depends on which side you are. You have a positive or negative take on that. Now, my point is this, that if it's on the profit side, if it's on the commercial aspect side as well, is it a long-term a visionary profit, or is it a short-term capital gain sort of a thing? Because even as an artist down the line, if you do this kind of a product, manufacture, a cultural commodity, if I might say, 5 years down the line, when things would be even more technologically complicated, then where does the part of human autonomy stand? So I would want you to reflect a bit on the subjectivity aspect, if you might.
There's something that we've been discussing, Apupan and I have been discussing, which is that the way we look at it, AI is going to hit the middle class the most. And consumption is driven by the middle class, no doubt about that. So these 10% that we say that are making products, if there are not people enough to buy those products, then what happens? That is a question that remains. And today our national budget was announced. I couldn't follow it because we were all here. But about 2-3 days ago, there were statements from corporates saying that, the trickle-down effect is not there. There needs to be more money with the people. Suddenly people are realizing when the godowns are full, when there's too much inventory there is this realization coming that, if there is no demand in the market, then this is going nowhere. So I think slowly, somewhere that realization is happening. What shape will it take in the days to come? I have no idea, frankly, because things that are happening are too scary. I mean, like, have you seen a demon? No, but you imagine how the demon will be. So it is kind of that way. So that was the kind of thought that I had. Do you have anything to add to it?
I think it's a general human attitude that is the problem here. The narrative keeps changing. Now it's artists are going to lose jobs, and writers are going to lose jobs. It's so bad that these are artists. Nobody cared about artists before, okay? Now it's artists' jobs are going to go and all that. That's bullshit, because actually a lot of other people are going to be hit a lot harder than that. And we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to address it. So we like to say these things that make us look sensitive and all that. The race right now is not really to get humanity to any place. It's we've realized that this large language model of teaching these things, all the data that we have, can only make it repeat that in a different permutation or combination. To us, the intelligence factor, that instinct or that part is missing. So it may have to be a different route by which we reach there. So I believe a lot of the funding is being now sort of navigated into different efforts to, so it's a race to get to that monopoly place, because whoever develops that first is going to be king. So the long-term effects, I can't predict so much, but I can predict how human attitude is. Now what I realize is, like tech people, artists are also